The earliest tape is dated September 2004.
We're just looking to grab a room.
So you were in room 6. I hope you enjoy your stay. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to scream.
Now see how it all began.
What is that?
Look how scared she looks. I like watching them squirm.
Welcome to The Good, The Bad, and The Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in 2 parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview, which is always special when we do these interviews. But when it's like number 1 on the call sheet and the person that survives at the end, it just gives it a little bit more juice. And that is actress Agnes Bruckner. Love talking about her childhood, getting into acting at a young age before she was doing modeling, then Bold and the Beautiful, then big monster blockbuster movies like The Glass House and Murder by Numbers. Then we talked about playing Anna Nicole Smith, which is just like so mind-blowing that she played that role. Some good stories about that. Agnes was awesome. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure after this, go back, check out that interview. And of course, all of our other 298 episodes. And wow. So Vacancy 2, this is 298.
Yes.
Yeah, 298.
Yeah. I know. I'm saying
wild,
that's impressive. Yeah. Very wild.
Very impressive. And so the sequel, Vacancy 2, was one of those. Jamie was going through a list and he goes, wow, I remember the first one. Never knew they made the second one. He reached out. We were able to talk to Agnes. But before we talk about this movie that kind of surprised me, I would say, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing great, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So like when I talk to Agnes, like when we do, if it's movies I've seen before, I feel like I'm not cheating in a way. Like I already know the movie when I watch it. But whenever I interview the person, it's a movie I never seen before. I watch little snippets to get a feel for it. I'm telling you, the snippets that I watched, totally different. This movie was a lot different than I thought. How about you? Did you remember the first one a lot?
I remember it, but then I watched some the trailer again, some clips again, and I mean, I think this movie is very different than the first one. But I'll tell 100%. You, okay, so knowing that it's a little known sequel that I'm assuming a lot of people don't know about, I did not go in this movie with high expectations. Okay, however, I am pleasantly surprised about the movie.
Okay.
Now, it does. I mean, again, there's things we need to talk about. But first of all, I think Agnes did a great job.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. Like, I think she could do action movies. I mean, that whole end scene. I mean, like, she's pretty badass. And I really and you know what? All the other actors. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. Like, I think the actors were good. Literally, and again, I don't like horror movies. I don't like gross movies. And even though I knew what was going to happen in some of these scenes, I mean, you knew what was going to happen. I still had my eyes half shut because I was, it was definitely like, it was a thriller. I mean, there was scenes where I was like, my heart was beating. So it was much better than I expected it to be.
Wow. What a way we're almost ending 2023 with some very high praise. You know what I love when they cast people in movies, and I know a lot of times maybe they wouldn't, like, I wouldn't be offended if I was like an actor or
sure.
Say, hey, you look like so and so, but like that main guy would see me like serious John Huston vibes. Like he kind of looked like him.
What main guy?
Killer. The killer.
The killer. Yeah. Well, I got a little something for you. Do you know the motel owner? You know who he is? He's not a main actor. But
he looks super familiar.
He was young Tom Hanks in Big.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I looked them all. I mean, they all, a lot of these guys, actors, all look familiar. Like they really do.
Well,
the
other guy was in. Honestly, you know what? I haven't looked it up, but the red hair guy, because there's not a lot of people. That's what's great when we talk about movies like this and that are actually good. Is when there's not a lot of people. A lot of times when you think, hey, not a lot of people, hey, they're doing this because they're trying to save some money, which that could be
Yeah.
the case. But they cast it really well. But the red hair guy, I'm gonna look it up because I'm gonna go crazy if I'm wrong. But I think it's the dude you're getting Adele guy.
Well,
If you remember those commercials from the
he
2000s.
gave me Daniel Stern vibes.
Oh yeah,
You know,
definitely.
Yeah, but can you believe he was the kid? He was the kid version of Tom Hanks in Big.
Now
Isn't
I
that
see. I
crazy?
can't.
Yeah.
No.
Now you
that's
can't
him.
see it.
It's wild.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say the main. Okay, so there's, I mean, the beginning, the couple in the beginning can't, like they were annoying, but my biggest gripe with this movie is the killer. The killer. I think he does a great job. However, the type of killer, and again, I'm not a serial killer expert, but
Okay.
my guess is he's like what's the guy, Ted Bundy type, because the first thing he does is, when I mean, I know we're not there yet, but the way it's a woman, he brings her back to the hotel. I don't think he just kills for fun, and the rest of the movie he's kind of killing for fun, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's his MO, and I think that's like, it really is like, I thought that like it was just really about him and women, and so that's the only thing. Like, I don't think a killer like him, because he seems like a serial killer for women, that I don't think he would be like just a random, like, he just has fun killing people.
It's almost like because they like were threatening him. What the thing that's the craziest part of it, and I just confirmed that is the dude you're getting Adele guy, and he was in I don't know. Wait, I'm confusing the dude you're getting Adele guy versus the Yahoo ads, but he's definitely the stoner guy from Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah. Yep.
Which
really?
is wild. That's yeah. The redhead.
Oh my
guy.
gosh. Yeah,
He's
you're right.
the stoner
Oh my
guy
gosh.
from it, and the other guy isn't it? His name is Brian Klugman, and he's actually doing well for himself because he just had a named role in Maestro, and he was on Bones for a season. So
they all
he's
have a
doing
decent.
good.
They all have a decent list. I mean, like I said, I looked them all up because they all have a familiar face. But and this movie gave me a Norman Bates vibe. Totally. So yeah, let's get into this. Like I said,
but let's talk about your biggest gripe you were able to get out. Let me give you mine. That's right in the beginning of the movie. The fact that this movie, this movie in a sick, twisted way is about like two entrepreneurs who want to make money because you're like the Norman Bates. Their hotel sucks and nobody wants to go to it. It's because it's in the middle of nowhere. So they're selling smut videos, which I was not expecting. I was expecting when they were watching the couple, the just married couple who were pretty much like trying to have sex while the car was moving.
Okay, go ahead.
But the fact that they go from nobody's buying this crap anymore, the truck driver who's only in two parts of this whole movie, the beginning and end, he goes, yeah, man, people aren't buying this crap anymore because he only wants 25 copies, right? It's like a really 25. So they go, oh man, but we had this other video that was just recorded of this guy murdering a prostitute.
It's like the hot thing right now. I know.
It was insane.
Well, since we're talking about gripes, I mean, just like Norman Bates, how do they afford to stay open when there's literally no one there ever? It's only one
100%.
person. And the fact that, again, it's first of all, who sets up a motel in the middle of nowhere? Like, how many customers do you really think you're gonna get? And
none. All the rooms are open, and the fact that he did one of the rooms is for filming.
Yeah,
it seems like only one setup for filming,
only one.
Two.
Yeah,
because he goes, let me give you room 6. Like when the guy comes in, he goes, Mr. Smith.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, and not for nothing. Why does everybody always travel late at night in the middle of nowhere?
No.
Like if you are going to be driving a long time, cross country, and you have to drive, like, there's no way I'm doing it in the middle of the night because every movie the car breaks down or whatever. Like, it's there's so many things that are just people don't do. I mean, right off the bat, we have the just married couple, right?
Yeah.
Then the car said just married, correct? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do people really do that? Like, all the car was missing were the cans that were tied to the back of the car.
Oh, the cans, yes.
I mean, do people really do that? I mean, like, that's their honeymoon is driving and staying at a motel?
Yeah, well, it seems like that's what it is, but where did they get married? Because they're in the middle of nowhere. they seemed like they were partying. So there was some venue that had their wedding that they chose to leave
and
to sleep in the car. Pretty much they were like having sex
of course.
in the car. Anyway.
And well, my guess is they were probably dating for a long time and they were waiting. So they just couldn't wait anymore. But I mean, you're not going to change. You're going to travel across country in your wedding dress.
It's
like, how comfortable could that be? And yeah, I mean, she was like, she looked like she needed it pretty bad. I mean, like,
do you know what nonstop. Do you remember a line that she said in the movie that was crazy? This was when I still thought that they were getting murdered. Like that's what I thought. Cause I remember the first, I was like, oh my God, they're about to get murdered. But when he goes to lock the door, and what's weird is the hesitation.
Wait a second. Wait, does he lock the door? Because I feel like nobody locked the door.
No, he doesn't lock the door. That's the whole point.
Okay.
He looks at the door and he's thinking about it, and she looks at him. It's like this weird moment. Like, wouldn't the decision be whoever's by the door, just lock the door? She says a line. I wrote it down. I wasn't shy before the wedding, and certainly not shy now.
Oh, because of the light. That was because the light was staying on, or she couldn't shut it off, or something like that. So she said
it was with the door lock.
No, it was because the light was not turning off. So like they would have to leave the light on, and that's why she said I wasn't shy. So he's going to see her naked.
Yeah, I would go watch it because I wrote it right after. I go, weird. He's hesitated in locking the door, and she says I wasn't shy before the wedding, and certainly not shy.
No, it had nothing.
Because after that is when the power surge happened.
Right, and that was the whole point, because the lights were not shutting off. I don't think she'd care if someone. First of all, who's going to walk in? They know they're in the middle of nowhere.
I know, but that's what was weird about him looking at the door, the lock, looking at her, looking back at the door, and then her saying, "I'm certainly not."
You know what? Double check after, but I think
we'll go to the videotape.
Okay. So I mean, first of all, they're driving like a maniac in the middle of nowhere. But if you stopped at a motel that looked as grimy as that, and the two guys, I mean, there were two guys standing in. Like, is that a lobby? I mean, is it the front desk? But like, there's no way I'm staying there. I mean, they look like they literally would have a peephole in your bedroom. Yeah. That's the vibe they had, So, and they had one better. They had they had cameras set up.
So it checks out, like the way they look. Don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe when you go to a seedy hotel, judge the book.
Judge it.
Yeah.
And are they brothers? They friends? Like what? Like, and do they have a job? Like their job is sitting there and just selling the tapes. Like, and how many tapes can they possibly have? Like different people? Because I can't imagine people coming there.
I know.
Yeah.
And what are they selling the tapes for? Because I think the first number he said was like, how many copies do you want? 1,000? Did he say 1,000? He said a really large number. That's why they were so floored at 25.
Right.
So if it's 1,000, like, I guess they're selling it for $10. Like that's what truckers are doing. Like truckers are people too. Like a good buddy of mine, the guy Chris Moore, he's a trucker now, and he just does like these short routes into New York and back, So like they're painting the truckers as like
perverts.
Wait, not even just that. So truckers are buying these tapes. Do they have VCRs and TVs in their truckers? For when they go home?
Well, Hawk had a working out stuff in his, and he had that stretchy whatever. So, but first of all, the copies of the movie, like when they're watching it, it's very grainy. It's not even clear. Like you can barely see what's going on. So who's buying that? Like who's your clientele?
Maybe that adds to the entertainment. That makes me feel like it's real.
It literally it looks like it's footage from a gas station. Like that's that's what it looks like. So like,
I'd probably rather sleep in a gas station than this place.
This just meeting to see the first of all, you meet the manager who walks out, and then then Daniel Stern walks out right after. That's not suspicious alone. Like he looked like he just woke up. He's walking back out of the back room. I mean, yeah, that there's the vibes there had to be. You know what though? They didn't seem to care because they just wanted to get it on. So really, I don't think it mattered where they were.
Yeah, what's crazy is the fact that when the guy comes in, lowers the hat, gives the cash for the room, says Mr. Smith, and they're like watching him like, well, this guy's really clean. Like, I don't know if prostitutes. I'm guessing that there's some gross things that people want to do. So maybe that's why a sheet on the bed is like fine for them. They're like, oh, I've done this. I played this song and dance before.
Okay. Oh, you know what? So we kind of just went over the whole first scene anyway.
Yeah.
So of the killer. Okay, the killer, right? So forget the hunt. So
The other couple's forgotten about pretty much, because when we thought that they were going to get murdered,
I know.
when we saw the other guy and then we see them leave at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, wait, this is weird.
Yeah, they totally made it look like they were going to get killed. So, okay. So yes, you're right. I'm assuming prostitutes, where the money is, they're going to do whatever. But you don't get any kind of like fishy alarm when someone's putting plastic down on a bed, outside of maybe, maybe he thinks he's peeing on, plastic won't pee. But I mean, like right away, as soon as he started doing it, I'm like, this is like Dexter. Like I'm thinking Dexter right away. Like, he was really setting up a crime scene. So like, and she's not even looking. She's like face down, like, and she's okay laying on this. Like, I don't know. I wonder if that's a thing. I don't know.
I don't know. Or this guy's smart and like has met her a few times. So then, like I'm saying, he met with her, so she feels comfortable for him to put a sheet down for this to happen. But I don't know. But where'd she get picked up? It's in the middle of nowhere.
I know.
Obviously, like I don't know. Is there a street corner somewhere? I guess this is internet age.
But that's my point, and that's why he's like he's probably more like a Ted Bundy, where he's grooming the girls. He's like he's dating them, and then whatever he's doing, and then he's bringing it. So there's trust. I don't think he's just going on a murder spree. Of just killing anybody. So all right, that's interesting.
This is pre-internet. You know why this is pre-internet? Because the first one's like 2003, 2004, like pre everyone on the internet. Because I was thinking like, wouldn't they just like put the video? Couldn't they sell them online? They're really selling them trucker to trucker. Like this guy has his own little store that people come in to buy from his truck. Like, oh, what do you want to, meet the parents on VHS? Or I got this other thing the way back. Do you want that?
Yeah. You know what? Is like, I didn't even think about that. All those trucks that are parked on the side, he's just knocking on their doors and just trying to sell snuff films.
He's doing like a door-to-door sales. Like, how you doing? I'm Jethro. I'm here. I got on the left side of my jacket he has a big trench coat. The left side is family movies. The bottom's comedy. The right. And there's like a little red door, like back at the video store days. What did your dad have? Did he have the double doors? Like the saloon doors?
No, he actually just had the book. If I remember correctly, it was a book with like the tabs in it. So like it had like,
That's even more embarrassing. At least as an
like
adult, you can sneak back there.
You can sneak back there. No. This is, again, I was young, but I think, first of all, I would like to clarify that my father had a video store that had a book, obviously, of X-rated movies. It was, if I didn't say that, people are going to feel like, oh, so your father had a sex shop? And I
peep
shop. But I think he had the book with the covers in the sleeves, so you could just flip through the book. I don't think the store had that back room, but I know a lot of the video stores had that back room that you go, which I think is worse because they always had like the beads or something that were kind of blocking it, so you have to go through there. So okay.
There was beads or the Western double doors, and I remember there was a place in my town called Easy Video Palmer Video. And my dad would let me go do whatever. Pick out one
Palm video.
Palmer. Yeah, Palmer. That one had like a peep show in the back. Yeah. But I remember being dad, because he let me pick out one video game and one.
Wait, your dad went with you, and then he snuck in the back?
Hell yeah! And so he was a garbage man, so he was wearing his work boots. And usually I would take forever because there was a big decision. My dad would never let me bring it back. He'd be like, I don't care how much this game sucks. We're not coming back for another one. I remember going in the back like, Dad. And I got on my side, laid down, and I looked and I saw his boots. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing back there? He's like, oh, there you are.
And then Doug saw his first pair of boobs.
No, well, I found his drawer before then, but yeah. Oh man, but I'm just saying. So this guy's going like truck to truck or somehow getting it around to sell like these porno tapes, like these smut tapes, and then obviously it goes to the real smut thing. But crazy. Yeah.
Think about it. Like, so if he's selling them to other truckers, and then obviously they leave, and those truckers probably travel cross country, and then he just waits for a new,
New batch.
group of, and then start all over again, and he's not door knocking. Yeah, how is it? Because like you said, it's pre-internet. So how is he doing it outside of door knocking? He's door knocking, selling snuff films. Okay.
Oh, you were here last week. I said no to your porno tape. But hey, this week I got the bridge from them going to selling, like, that's like going from like robbing somebody's garden in their backyard to bank robbery. Like, that is the leap from, hey, I'm going to be creepy and film these two people, to, hey, you know what? We're going to get this guy that we caught murdering to murder for us, and then we're going to sell the tapes.
How? Yeah, I mean, like, and they're completely okay with that. You're right. I mean, they really went from just watching people have sex to watching people get killed, and they're okay with that. Not to mention, how do you trust the killer? Like, you're letting this guy, I mean, they obviously, they saw him, the guy didn't know he was being taped. They took him down with knocked him out, and they tied him up. And you're going to let this guy go free? Like, no way. Like, I mean, you're going to trust that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the fact that the only thing that stops him from turning on the kid from Big and the stoner and Can't Hardly Wait is, hey, man, if you do anything, he's got a copy of that tape and he'll turn it into the police. It's like, oh, well, I'm already a murderer. Like, I'm going to do this. Obviously, that other guy didn't give two shits because of what we see at the end of the movie, which is ridiculous. Yeah. But the fact that they go from I don't know what kind of relationship you have to have with your, underground, illegal tape seller guy. But the fact that he just goes, yeah, man, nobody wants to buy these, sex tapes anymore. They want something juicier or something. And then he hits play, and then it's just playing the murder. And he's like, hey, man, what's this? Let me check this out over here.
And again, I don't think he would be. Like, again, I don't think it's his MO. Like, he just went there to kill that woman. I don't think he's looking to videotape himself doing it. First of all, he's going to be on videotape his face. Like, the plan was not to, although it was creepy and so stupid at the same time. The mask he wears later on, like how he comes up with that idea.
Back at Jason. They're back at Jason.
It was so funny. I mean, it was funny. I mean, they're such idiots, the two brothers or whatever they are. Mm-hmm. Like they are kind of comical. But yeah, I mean, he's walking around with a screen on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. Okay.
And the fact that we saw him sort of make it, like he just grabbed the screen, like not like,
and he thought of it
been pre-made.
But he thought of it right away. Like, that's something that's normal to like, you know what? I need a mask. Let me cut the screen out. Like, I don't think I would ever think of making, first of all, I don't think that would really work. Like, I don't know how you're going to really, like, I don't know how he looked like Scarecrow. He looked like a scarecrow.
He did, yeah.
But he looked like a beekeeper. Like, like that's what he looked like. But like, you're going to think like that's, first of all, there were sheets in the room. There were pillowcases. Like, there's plenty of things to use. No, he decides to use a screen door. Like, I don't think that would be one of my choices.
People aren't using it in those cabins because nobody stays there. So you can rip all the screens out. Nobody really even knows.
Yeah, but the purpose of a mask is to hide your face, but a screen door you can see through.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. This guy.
So what's the point of that? Like,
and the fact that they, again, like you said, like the trust that they have in this guy, just because they have a copy of the tape somewhere, what stops him just saying, whatever, man, he'll never find me. Stab bolt over and then be on his way. But no, he's into it. They're like buddies because this is like that day. They're like, hey, we got some people here. And they're so creepy. Like when Agnes and her boyfriend and RJ go to check in, it's just like the vibes. I'd be like, your dad will sleep in the car. I'd rather sleep in the car than this weird place.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, yeah. And then, right. You're talking about Agnes and her boyfriend. First of all, so Agnes they're driving down to Agnes's family because the boyfriend hasn't met the parents, even though he's got a job working for the father.
Exactly. Wrote that down.
Okay.
How does that happen?
It made no sense. So first of all, it's a hardware store. It's not like he's working for a big company. His father owns a hardware store. So he's moving down there to work at the hardware store. Okay.
He left a Chicago salary, which no matter what job he had is probably triple than the small town. Yep.
Okay. So as ridiculous as that is, the fact that he never met the parents, got the job, and it's a hardware store. What's his friend doing? So his friend's moving down. So his friend's going to move down with them, live in with the parents also. It's just like, like that made no sense. Why is he there?
Yeah, they didn't even mention that, like, oh, if he's just going for the ride because she doesn't like him, so it makes zero sense. And he's great. He's on The Rookie right now on ABC, and he was a child actor too. But he was really funny.
Yeah, he looked familiar.
He had some really random lines, like when he said, "Meta view, how about a titty view?" He's like, they have all these views. Mountain View, all these things. He
was the typical friend who had to take a backseat to his best friend's girlfriend, right? So he's jealous of that relationship because he's no longer the best friend, and so it's a typical in every movie, right? He doesn't get along with the girl, and he's always just being a wise ass. I mean, it just yeah.
So we talked about how creepy the two brothers are. I think there's like some word or like there's phrases that people would say that like something that was so off the wall that I would think hey, something shady's going on is when the guy comes out because they're waiting for him for a few minutes. He comes out and he says, "Ooh, sorry for the wait. Too much iced tea tonight."
So stupid.
Okay, I don't have to know about you just peeing. Just say, "Oh, sorry, I was using the bathroom. Too much iced tea." What are you hiding, mister? What just happened here? And then what does he say before they leave? Do you remember the line he says after he gives him the room key?
No.
If you need anything, don't hesitate to scream.
The scream. Well, they do talk about, I'm glad they mentioned that because and obviously it was a very silly line to say in a movie, but they do reference it. So I get that. But how about when they went to the front desk, he wasn't even there and he's slowly creeping in behind them and he's standing there before he announces that he's there. Like, that alone, again, it's a creepy little, front desk. And now you have the creeper manager who's creeping behind me as soon as I get there. Again, red flags. Why are we staying there?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah. So, yeah. And they got one room. So, yeah. And
it was like $49. It was cheap.
Yeah,
it was
cheap.
You know what's funny? It was $49 for whatever year this is. And Norman Bates in 1982 is charging, what was it, 29 or 39 back then? They're not charging enough. Maybe that's why the place is so dirty.
Well, maybe, but then you would think there'd be more people there. But how about the fact that there's you see all the keys on the wall, and there's always tons of keys there. So no one questions how come no one's here. You go there, you're stopping in a motel, and you realize no one is staying there. Why?
Well, the old guy questions it later.
He does.
Which is really ridiculous. That scene was that made me sweat a little bit. I'm like, whoa, what's going on right now?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, they do a good job of. There's literally, I think, 2 or 3 where my eyes were squinting because, I was waiting for something to happen and I didn't know how gross it's going to get, and I knew it was going to happen, just didn't know when, kind of thing. So they did a good job with that.
Yeah, but I love that the buddy Tanner, so it was like a double door he went through. So it's like a connected room, but he jumped over something when he opened that door, but he had his own room to himself. And then that's how he accidentally stumbled upon, which is crazy that they have 2 different, the wires going to the main room, the lobby, where yeah.
But that wasn't the room that they were videotaping in, was it? Because
no, it was a totally different room. Tanner was in a separate room.
Yeah, but they said that there was only one room that had the videotapes that they're watching. So that's the room they watched the videotapes in? I thought they watched it in the back room.
No, they watched it in the back room, but for some weird reason, there was a cross. Because when he was changing the channel, somehow he was able to see it.
Okay.
It was weird because he was watching it and sort of into it, and then he was like, whoa.
Well, he did he say something I turned it off after a little bit or something like that.
Yeah.
He said, well, listen, she did look great in this movie. I mean, and I mean, yeah, no, but yeah, okay.
So one thing I love about this movie that was so smart was when they had the cell phones, because they definitely they had cell phones in the movie, but they were definitely old cell phones. No, like, apps.
They never worked.
It's just like, which is, I love when they do that. That's like the smartest way, because all horror movies, for the most part, could just be over in a phone call. But at least they're like, oh, we have no service, because they are in the middle of nowhere. So it's good to introduce that element, because it's like, all right, we're going to let you guys know there are cell phones, but we can't use them anyway, ever.
Well, that's what I mean. Like mentioning the fact that, why would he say scream, instead of saying, give a holler or whatever. Like they did talk about the obvious things that a lot of movies don't. And I think they did a good job with that as well. But let me ask you this. Would you, if you live down south, would you be offended by all these movies that all these people are always look the same? If you take, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you take, the Dennis Franz from Psycho, and you take they all look like you, if you said pick the pervert or pick the whatever out of a lineup,
Pick the pervert out of a lineup.
They all look the same. They have the same look, every time, from down south.
They always look sweady. Like, I think that's one like pervert thing, because Dennis Franz was like pouring in. He seemed like always like wet.
Oh, that's what they're sweaty. They look like they haven't showered in days. They look like they just woke up. I mean, they look disheveled. Like, it's the same look of all.
Yeah. Such creepers. I wonder if the South does get offended. I've encountered people from the South, or even just driving across the country, middle of nowhere. You get some definitely, like you said about driving across the country. It's like no joke. It would be like, let's see how far we can get. Okay, the sun's starting to go down. What's the closest hotel? Like, getting caught on the road.
100%. There's no way. Caught on the road, running out of gas when there's no gas station for 25 miles. Like, there's no way you're doing this. In every movie, everybody travels at night. Like, yeah. I mean, okay, you're the newlyweds. You just got married. You don't leave the next day. Like, you couldn't wait. Yeah.
My wife made me stop in a field in Nebraska, because she wanted to get the moon coming down over like this barn. It was a beautiful photo. Like, we have it on the wall. But I remember just sitting there like, what if the car doesn't start again? Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. We could be a horror movie based on a true story.
You have a barn. I mean, that didn't creep you out? Like, doing next to a barn?
I was like, come on. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
Over and over again, until she was like, all right, I got it. But how about the fact that these guys are already like all in, like, you know what? We're going to start this smut film business. We're going to start murdering people. And then it's like,
this is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hey, man, there's 3 of them. We can't do anything with 3 of them. And then obviously the killer comes in and he's like, I don't give a shit. I can kill 3, 4, 5, 6. He's just like, and the fact that they look like Baghead Jason. That's what the 2 guys were wearing.
Yeah, they really do. And they're like creeping into windows, and they're literally, there's no one else in the property but those 3 people. And I feel like even at the point when they knew they were being watched, why did they continue wearing the masks?
I know.
I mean, the end game. The end game was they're gonna kill them anyway because they were trying to kill them. I don't think the masks were necessary at that point because they assumed they're not leaving alive.
Yeah, or no, maybe they just thought like maybe they had a fear that they were gonna get away. They're like, hey man, we're new at this, so they might just run because they didn't really attempt to run. They really hid and wanted to kill them.
Well, that's the other thing. So like, anytime they had a chance to escape, they either ran to a car, which, was a risk in itself, or they ran back to their motel room.
Yeah.
Like, no, first of all, they all look like they're in way better shape than the 3 morons, right?
Yeah.
The killer and the 2 brothers. So how about just keep running straight? Like, there's no way they're going to keep up. Like they didn't. And I think they were like the one guy was saying, let's just go, let's run. And the other ones were like, no. I mean, I feel like you're a sitting duck. If you don't get out of that motel room, you're a sitting duck, which is what happens.
Yeah, and they had shotguns because she knew he had a shotgun. So
And
in her, no mine, because they did that little backstory about, I bet you used to go hunt with your dad,
Yep.
which set up sort of the end of the movie. But the fact that you have a shotgun, if you run far enough away, the shotgun's not going to get to you.
Correct.
Or if it does, it's not going to hurt you. No rifles, just keep running. But no, you're right. When they saw them, which we'll get to in 1 second, because the only scene we have, that's what's crazy about this movie, is from this point on, it's like really just one big scene. Because once we get the old couple that shows up, which is the next scene, which is that's so silly. Like,
well, and it's funny. Like, it's literally like between that old couple and the first couple, like you're expecting something so much more.
I know,
to happen, and nothing happens. Like, it's like that. Like, if that guy was serious about being just a killer, like he would have killed everybody. He just would have went out on a rampage, and he wasn't, because like no one should be leaving there alive. So I mean, but
very suspense. Like the fact that the guy pulls up, we don't have any rooms here, and it's like, you should have your sign on. He's like, and he looks around, there's no cars in the parking lot. We're doing construction on the rooms. It's like, all right, well, why are you here, dude? You're doing construction on the rooms. Why are you just sitting here just to tell people no? And then he goes, hey, why don't you come inside real quick? I'll call the place up the road, and I'll see if they have. Yeah. And then I love when he sees out of the corner of his eye the killer walking towards the wife smoking the cigarette, and he's flipping that switch. No. That was great, dude.
No, it was good. And so clearly there's another motel down the street. So wouldn't you say, like, again, we talked about how grimy this place looks. I mean, you got to say, like, the other one can't be worse than this.
I know.
So why isn't anyone why is everybody settling? And one thing Agnes says when they go to the room, they're like, wow, this isn't that bad. It looked like such an old fashioned, like a room from the 70s. Like it looked like such a, like, I would not feel comfortable staying there at all.
And if you remember he says to the old guy, I'll call and see if there's a room up the road.
Yeah.
He calls there, and there's no reason for him not to really call, because he wants to get those people out of there. Like, that's his goal, right?
Correct.
So it's not like he's doing this setup for the killer to kill both of them. At this point, obviously that could have changed after the scene when we saw the end of it. But at that point, I'm like, there's no like reason for him to lie. But the other place is fully booked. He said they're fully booked. So what, people are choosing the wrong hotel, or just this is the one off the highway, and this is the first dump you get to, and then maybe it's like the next place 2 blocks over is beautiful.
Right. You don't know. And why not, like, why didn't he, like, you could tell they're new in this killing business, because you have another couple, they're older, that also could be part of the snuff films. Maybe there's an older couple snuff film audience that are looking for old people sex. I mean, because easily they could have put them in one room, kill the other couple, and now you got two for one.
2 for 1.
Like, why wouldn't they consider that part of the snuff film?
Knock, knock, knock. Hey, I'm here. I got some new films for you. Oh, you were here last week. Oh, I got something special.
we got the grandparents.
Geezer's Guillotine. Part 7.
You know what? The sad thing is, there's definitely probably a market out there for that, for the geezers. Oh,
that's insane.
It really is.
People are sick. You're like, really? Like, it's
what if half our audience is into geezer sex?
They just turned it off.
All right.
Oh, you meant geezer sex? Or I was talking about geezer murdering.
Well, I mean, both. But I mean, no. But first of all, it starts off with the geezer sex, and then it goes into geezer murder.
Oh, so you split the 2 tapes, so they can really keep both their businesses. Really.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Until like a father and son are watching in opposite rooms, and it's like, hey, that looks like a girl that was just in the movie I watched. Hey, that's the girl who was in the movie I watched, and they realize they're watching the part 1 and part 2 of it.
I thought you said geezer sex was disgusting.
No.
Okay.
It's love. They love each other. It might be a beautiful thing to them.
Okay.
It smells like Ben Gay and baby powder.
Oh my gosh. And mothballs.
Oh my God. So then we get Agnes, Tanner, and her boyfriend, Caleb. It was weird when they're in the room together. It was just kind of bizarre.
Okay.
This whole part. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're first of all, they're about to have sex, and then she decides to take a shower. she knows he's there, and she comes out in a towel.
Yeah.
That wasn't like she's already like this kind of disgusted by him. I don't think she would do that.
Or maybe she wants to make him even angry. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe she wants to make Caleb uncomfortable so he doesn't bring his friend on any of these more excursions. But her boyfriend, wow, he had something going on. Maybe because he was going to meet her dad, who was a manly man. He was going to, because Tanner made jokes about him. What are you going to do with him? You're going to work hand paint out at the store? And so maybe he felt like he had to be like a tough guy.
Respect. Yeah.
Like, why, when they're leaving, just leave. Which we knew that they weren't going to be able to leave. Like, I was like, oh, their car's not going to start. But why throw rocks at the place? I don't get that. And
again, like you don't know how crazy these people are, right? I mean, clearly they're not normal. I mean, when you find all this videotapes and all that stuff, like, so what do you think you're going to do? Like, you got no weapons on you. You know, you don't know who else is there. You know, you're right. And he's acting like a tough guy. Like, yeah. Well, he had to show his girlfriend that, he's a man.
Yeah, that changes pretty quick. That goes downhill. You know, it's like, I did enjoy this movie, but I wonder, and I'm sure they've done it before, but I would love a movie like Strangers, like The Strangers, but with this element, because if you didn't know who it was, but I don't know if that would be like, then it'd be like, hey, what's the story? Like, why are the people running it? But just the fear of the movie, The Strangers scares the shit out of me. That movie is just frightening.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and like I said, I mean, this definitely, well, I don't think this is that kind of movie. Like, it really didn't need it. The only thing that would have been kind of neat is if they had the original motel owner from the first movie at the end of this movie with the trucker.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like starting his, that would have been pretty cool. If they did something like that, to have that connection, fine. But I'll tell you, I was extremely surprised about the boyfriend when that happens. Like, I did not expect, like right away, like, that whole scene. I mean, because they after that, first of all, I mean, how creepy was it when these trucks, they're trying to get away?
Oh my God. And playing chicken with them.
Yeah. I mean, and like, the shooting, but like missing them on purpose. And like, what do you do in this situation? Like, I mean, and that's the point where you can't run because they're in cars, obviously, so they can catch you. But like, how like, you got to be crapping your pants. You can't. You try to go one way, you got another truck with the high beams there, so you can't see anything, so you don't know what's going on. And then you got the other truck, the other side, you can't see anything. So it's like, what do you do? Like, yeah, no,
I know. And then, but what you don't do is run back into your room where you're trapped. Like,
they're trapped in there. They have cameras in there. They have cameras. So even if you're going there to make a plan, they can hear your plan and they can see your plan.
Yeah.
So that's probably if anything, that's probably the worst place to go.
Yeah, because even earlier, before they were going to leave, when Caleb was acting like a tough guy in the room, and Tanner's like, dude, they can hear us. I'm sure they have microphones. Whatever you're saying, they're going to know that we're going to, and he still was acting tough. And same thing when they got back. It made no sense for them to do that.
I know.
But man,
I know.
It was insane. This part is pretty graphic. Like,
so what order? Like, all right. So they have a plan. They think maybe no one's, which makes no sense, that they think no one's in the back. So no one's going to see them sneak out the window.
Oh, I know.
But would you want to be the first one out the window?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, they're trying to get in the house, but at the same time, you don't know what's out there. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to stay in the house, but at the same time, I don't think I'd want to be the first person out of the house.
I think second out of the three is the smartest.
I agree.
Because if the first one goes and they get killed, okay, well, we're not going to go that way. There's somebody behind you. They're not going to skip over the person that's in front of them to get to you.
So the second person is the safe. Okay. I mean, and being the boyfriend, wouldn't you think that he would go first and then so he can pull his girlfriend out? Like, or like, I don't know. It's
the manly thing. So I know the manly thing usually is like you going first, but maybe it's like, hey, this unknown, because but that was pretty good. It was really just the way they did a lot of things in this movie were so good. The way you I didn't even think about it. Like, even though that's like such a cliche in like horror movies and like action,
I didn't think about it either. Like,
I wasn't thinking about it.
I wasn't either. And that's what I mean. Like, I didn't expect that to happen. Like, if anything, I expected the friend to get it first because you got the couple right here. Right. So like, that's like, the whole movie's about them. Like they're, and then they grab him and then they kill him right away. Like I was so surprised in that part. I mean, it was very surprising. And
especially if they're doing a smut film, you'd think they set up the camera the right way. The guy was like holding it. It was like shaky. I'm like, all right, well, they're going to sell that one.
Well, so then that goes the question. They grab the boyfriend, they tie him up and then just murder him. So where are they making money on it? Where are they making money on that?
Exactly. There was no reason for them to do it because they did it so quick. And then obviously, Agnes was in shock. Jess was in shock. The fact they were like getting ready to run. She's like, we have to go back. We have to stay here. And it's like,
but she saw him get stabbed 15 times. Like, why? She needs to go back there for her boyfriend who was stabbed 15 times. That was a little silly. Like the friend knew. He's like, listen, we got to go. And she was like, no, we got to go back for him. Go back what? For his dead body? Like,
It's the killer stabbed him like it would be like at the end of a movie, and the guy maybe like shot the killer or did something to him. There was like way too much anger for people that he doesn't have anger towards yet. There's no reason for him to be that. I know he's a sicko. That's the whole point of him, but he was like so like
into
angry.
it. That's what I mean. Like, it did not fit his the way they portrayed him in the beginning of the movie. And again, it doesn't fit the smut film. What I thought they were going to do is, all right, we're going to tie the boyfriend up. Now we're going to get the girlfriend and then set up a smut film or something like that. Like that would have been like what they're trying to do, not just murder. So like, is their audience now just people that want to see like Hostel? Like now it's just selling tapes of people getting killed.
That's the next level. That's when they find good clients. Yeah. Oh my god!
Well, I mean,
how about that buddy? Like, what about the balls of his buddy? Like, they saw him start to get stabbed already, and he was still banging on the door. He even banged so hard the door. He was kicking the door in. It opened. We see the little kid from Big, and he's standing right there. And you're thinking like, oh, they're going to kill him right now, but they let him run because then that's when they haul ass.
Well, it was a good plan because he told her to keep yelling so they think they're both on that side. But at the same time, he also left the girl alone.
He did, yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, I got this.
I don't think they had a plan.
We never survive horror movies. It's running.
Well, he wasn't the first one killed, which is usually
like
isn't that the trend? Like the first one killed? Isn't that what they say in
and I thought they could have done a little him surviving because of what happens at the end of the movie.
I thought so. Yeah, but do you really want to survive? I mean, he looked like a mess.
Well, I guess he didn't survive. Well, we find out what happened. Which is kind of crazy.
Oh, I cringed in that scene too. Again, you knew what was going to happen in that scene, and I had my eyes squinting. I
guess because that's something that seems like it could really happen to like a normal person like you or I, like just like in a basement under a deck. Like I think about that so much. And it's because of Home Alone. Home Alone traumatized me because of nails.
Oh, how about you ever seen A Quiet Place?
No, they do that in
that. Well, there's a scene where there's a nail sticking up on the steps, on the wooden steps, and she's walking around barefoot. So and she walks past it a few times, so it's going to happen eventually. And because in the movie you got to be quiet. She steps on it and she can't scream, so she's covering her mouth. It's talk about like suspense. Like,
I've never seen the movie and I don't want to ruin it for people that haven't, but I would love to. If you gave me like 10 guesses, do you think I could guess why people have to be quiet?
I don't think it's no, it's not. I don't think it's a secret. It's the monsters. They just hear you. They just.
Oh, okay. So
you see Bird Box. It's the complete opposite of Bird Box. You can't in Bird Box. You have to you can't look at them. In this one, you can't make noise. It's so like ridiculous. I mean, it's a good movie, The Quiet Place, and I took my daughter to see it in the theater. And when I tell the first half of the movie all is in sign language because the daughter is I know we're off track, but the daughter is deaf in real life, so she's doing sign language. So the whole movie is sign language and subtitles. So you don't hear a sound for the first half of the movie. So it's quiet. So you hear every burp, fart like in the movie theater because it's so quiet. It's but then also like loud like noise is what makes you jump. Like it's Anyway, it's worth watching. You should see it.
Maybe I'll have to check it out.
Okay.
So when they go down, so now they're like, they run away, they hide in the bushes, they escape like the three guys, which you guys can't see. Even though I love when movies do this, it's the only way you can get the shot anyway. But it's always like, you're like, wow, it must be a full moon. It looks like spotlights, like in the middle of the field. You can see everybody so perfectly. But dude, when they get to that house, that was such a sad scene because it's like these people, we don't know who you are. You could be robbers from the hotel, and why should we let you in? And then the wife comes out and helps and brings him in.
What? But are they the only house in the like? Why would you want to live there? Like you're literally in the middle of nowhere. That's one thing.
Great question. Why are you living there?
Why are you living there? I mean, I didn't see a farmer or anything. So like, where's the supermarket? Where are you eating? What are you eating? How you getting food? I mean, literally, it's in the middle of nowhere. And two, you're close friends with the creepy brothers.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's your only friends. It's the only thing within like 100. Like in a square mile, there's like maybe that hotel, the other hotel, and you. So I guess you have to be buddies.
So you trust the creepy brothers over these other two people that look normal, and she looks like she's been through some tough stuff. That's who you trust, the creepy brothers,
or the husband is like the number one customer for all those films.
Oh, interesting. That's
my
connection. That's a possibility, and that's why.
Hey, honey, we don't have internet out here. We don't have internet out here. I can't even go on. On my websites.
I mean, that whole scene, I wasn't expecting it to go with the way it did. Also, like it was, it was very surprising. And first of all, like he wasn't the sheriff, was he? Was he the? Or no,
he was supposed to be calling the sheriff.
Okay,
and that's what the crazy part of the scene is when it's like, oh, it must be the sheriff. He's here. Because they heard someone at the door.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, I called them because you might have, and he's like, oh, we're gonna take them off your hands. And they're trying to explain to that couple like what's really going on. And the wife looks like panicked, the guy looks panicked, and then he shoots them. Like
yeah. But so we talked about this earlier, how they do mention like certain things, like they mentioned the screen part and everything else. Agnes says something in here, which again you don't hear in movies. Also, she's like, he already shot 2 shells. So he has to reload, and she runs away. Like, like she, in the movies, usually they just keep shooting from the shotgun. They're not, like no one's really paying attention, but like, because she's a gun person and, lives in whatever woods, she knew. And she mentioned that to the audience, which was, I thought, pretty good.
Yeah, no, it really set up that she would, know how to do things like Dutch and Predator.
Yeah,
and like Rambo.
And Rambo. Oh my gosh, it was so Rambo.
Like the stuff that she does, at least it gives you that. Like if they didn't explain that part, they do that in another movie. I can't think of it right now, but the one where they wear the animal masks, that horror movie that just came out a few.
I know you're talking about.
They do that in that movie because that girl talked about like growing up in the wild, and her dad was a hunter, so it's set up like how she's doing this amazing stuff, not like, hey, I'm just some normal 17-year-old girl. I'm doing karate. And it's like, oh, you don't even know karate. But at least in this, they're setting you up and telling you. But dude, when they kill those 2 people, that was like heartbreaking. Because it's like, that guy loved, like, sort of like, that was your friend that he did that one for you instead of calling the cops. Hey, man, I'll take care of you. And then you murder the guy.
Well, again, this killer is just basically killing everybody. Like he just doesn't care. Like he goes from killing one woman to like just killing everybody.
Yeah. And the killer, and I love the son from Big, little Tom Hanks in Big. He's like kind of like so shocked that the killer did that. Yes. And then when the stoner guy, the red hair guy, comes over, he's like, "What happened?" He's like, "You killed both of them." And then it's not like, "Hey, man, we're in way over our heads. Why don't we just turn and shoot this guy?" And then we'll be done with it. No, they're like, let's keep going, following this crazy guy. And then they're trying to make it look like burglary gone bad. So they're in there they know this so well. I guess they watch a lot of Law and Order or NCIS. Let's just start trashing the place. He's doing like the arms, like the kid in Breakfast Club. He's putting his arms on the desk, on the table and throwing stuff. Yeah, that works.
Who's robbing a house in the middle of nowhere?
Exactly. Yes.
Like, where are they coming from?
I know.
I mean, so would there really be do you think there's a high crime of burglars in a town where there's like a mile between each house?
No.
Like, that seems like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and then getting away would take days.
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes just to get to the end of the driveway. They're like,
hey, officer, how'd you know it was me? You're the only car driving. They called the cops and said, look for a car.
And throughout this movie, there's only one car at a time on the road. You know, between the newlywed couple, they get away, they're alone. You got the old couple, they're the only ones on the road. Agnes, only ones on the road. Like, just like Psycho. It's always one car and that's it.
It'd been great if they was in the Psycho town and they threw like a little homage to it, because you get that, like, you're right, the vibe of it.
Yeah. Well, you can't have a town with two motel psychos.
Yeah. That's why the other one's in business. The other one's great. You know what? Maybe Dennis Franz is running that one, or his son.
That would have been a good throwback. Have Dennis Franz as one of the brothers. Like, you know, like that would fit.
Have him answer the phone when they call the other hotel. Hey, we're packed here. We do it by the hour.
Yeah, that's or I guess that would have been cool. That's funny.
And at this point, they're caught. They got caught when they busted in and killed the two people. They were arrested because we get Jess wakes up. The next time she wakes up is when she has a camera on her face.
Yep.
And she is tied up, and we see her because the other two guys are now questioning their relationship with the killer while they're talking, because they can't talk like next to each other and look at the camera. They have to look at each other because it's so important. So they have to stare at each other's eyes. And at this point, she's cutting through,
right,
and able to like break the back of this old ass.
What was she using to cut it through?
I thought she was just using the rope. I didn't think she grabbed anything.
Oh. Yeah,
I missed it.
So she was just rubbing it against the back of the chair. The
chairs are so old. They probably picked them up, from the side of the road. They were probably like waterlogged, easy to snap, I guess. But then Tanner, which is crazy, it was cool that we saw it at the end. I do like that they did that, but they didn't ruin it.
I know.
Because all we saw was a
the
red.
Shoe.
Yeah, we saw the shoe. Was that all it was? The shoe thrown on the ground or something? Or underneath the shed?
They were
the house.
No, there was a shoe in the room with her, I thought, or something like that. Right? That's how she knew.
There was like a weird little cutaway to show us that he was dead. You didn't like see him. It was really dark, and you saw like a bat, which made no sense because we saw the prostitute was rolled up in a bag, which we see her underneath in the next scene. But like with him, he was just there. But it was weird that it was like, why didn't they show us anything? Like nothing at all.
Well, since you're mentioning it, so earlier in the movie, they were like, all right, we got to find a place to start burying these bodies or taking away. So their choice of getting rid of the bodies is under the stairs in front of the house that has the lattice. So there's holes in the lattice. So one, you could see underneath there. Two, the smell of all the bodies are going to be ridiculous. That's your hiding spot, is right in the open.
Yeah, you drops the room key and it goes under or like close by. Oh yeah, look, I see an eyeball.
You're not going to see flies all around. You're not going to hear you're in the middle of nowhere. You're going to tell me you can't find an open field? I mean, to throw it or whatever. That's the best spot you can think of. And you're planning on starting a business of, killing a ton of people. How much room do you have under there to just keep hiding all those bodies?
Yeah, right. Or maybe because they only have like one person every few days, maybe. So I guess they do have some time. But you're right. The smell is going to get to the point that it's unbearable for people that show up.
How about the fact that Agnes, when she was under there, like she didn't even notice until she saw it. She would have smelled it. I mean, I've never smelled a dead body. I'm assuming it smells, the way when you have open wounds and like blood and all that, you're going to smell it pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
I would assume. So yeah. Okay.
I guess because it's been less than a day, so maybe that prostitute's not smelling ripe yet.
She probably smells anyway.
She probably smells anyway. Pre-death, she smelled like death.
Yeah.
But so Jess, the way wow, it was so cool, that scene, because the guy was kind of like going through this really sick story about, and I love the way he did it too, because what did he say? It was Little Rock or some other city, like El Paso. He's like, you remind me of this girl from El Paso. Maybe it was Little Rock, which is like really sickening that you're confusing these two blood curdling screams that almost made your ears bleed between two murders you did in like cities not too close to each other.
Yeah. Well, again, that goes back to what I said. He's not a serial killer. He talked about another killing of a woman. So like, yeah. I mean, he clearly has done this for a long time. But and not for nothing, why does he needed brothers at all? Because I feel like he was disappointed by the two brothers the entire movie. Like they really did nothing. They didn't help him do anything. They bumbled the Daniel Stern completely bumbled everything. Like why does he need him? Like he's got the video camera set up. He can easily do it himself.
That's why I thought he should have killed him. I really thought he was going to do that, because and it proves, that he could obviously do the stuff without him. But when
Correct.
he is like, again, just like no matter what type of movie, whether it be action, anytime it's the bad guy, they really like the guy's basically, if this is a film that's going to have audio for people to listen to, the truckers, they're going to be like, hey man, they were giving away some clues to some murders. The same guy murdered in Little Rock, and they're like piecing things together, like on one of those old murder boards from like old detective shows. But like he's going through this whole thing, and then he gets stabbed in the neck. See, now that's if you're watching one of those films and you're like, oh man, this girl's about to die. Whoa, she fought back. Okay, and then you tell your friend, and then you sell more copies of that tape.
It was pretty. Well, no, he got stabbed. Was it the neck or the cheek? I thought he got stabbed.
It looked like the neck live.
It did look like the neck. It did look like the neck. Yes.
And then the cheek, he pulled his mask off.
Yeah.
And you saw him pull it out of the cheek. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, but it was a screen door. Would she be able to go through the screen? Wouldn't the screen kind of like block it a little bit?
No, it was only you can go through it. If it was sharp, they showed the way she broke the thing. It was like it was sharp enough. No, you could go through.
Okay, but again, he's wearing a screen that you can see his face. I mean, a screen, no screen out there. You could see clearly who So like, and he's got the camera right there. So, but yeah, this is the turn of Agnes where she starts becoming a badass and like,
oh yeah,
like
she's Commando. She's Matrix.
No, she does a great job in this part. So yeah, so then she ends up does she go right underneath the steps right after this part?
Yeah, she goes right. Yeah, right away she goes underneath, and this when she's bumping into all the bodies.
Why isn't she running away? Like why do we continue to linger around the house where they're trying to kill you?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no reason to not run. I think she sort of panicked at first, because when she came out is when she was hiding in the front of the lattice and she saw the little Tom Hanks from Big from like across the parking lot. And then when he got closer is when they did the cut of him pulling the gun out and then him walking past that spot. And then we just saw her face behind it. So I think that's why she didn't run.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't like playing hide and seek for that reason. That I'm hiding, but I'm afraid someone's gonna see me and catch me, like get me when I get like if you're a killer's chasing you and you decide like I'm gonna hide right here close by. I'm like nervous. Like I mean like to me I would rather like again they look like idiots. I'm sure she could outrun all of them. She should have just kept running.
She could have, she should have. Yeah. But I really, one thing I do wish is it'd be great to like get Agnes to like ADR some like one-liners, because this scene, because it's so wild. Like when she pricks her head a little bit, even that makes me like squeamish.
Yes,
like she pricks on the nail on the top, and then she looks up and notices the terrible carpentry of just these long nails going through. And the fact that we get the stoner guy from Can't Hardly Wait, when he comes under, and he has to maybe know, right? He like has to know about these nails a little bit, right? Did he drop the bodies down there?
You think he's thinking twice about that? I mean, like true. No. But I mean, like, the fact that she hides under her boyfriend, her dead boyfriend. I mean,
Wild.
but I mean, like you said, like, yes, when she hit her head, I was a little squeamish. And then seeing him, the other guy, Daniel Stern, crawl under there, I'm literally squinting, waiting for his head. Oh, like it was just so gross. Like, yeah.
But why does he go under? Like, it seems pretty open. Use like
because
a
he hurt.
flashlight.
He hurt. Yeah.
I don't know why you have to go in. What are you going to do? Get that close? I know what's crazy is he had a gun, but he used his knife. Like,
yes.
So he's just going with a knife. So somebody has to be like that close for you actually. So if he sees her, she just rolls out. Like, it just.
Well, you make a point. All this, like, the rest of the movie is all like late at night. Not one person has a flashlight.
Nobody.
Like, if you're chasing someone in the dark, wouldn't a flashlight kind of give you the edge?
It'd be huge. You put it on the end of the gun, you hold it on.
Yeah.
You see where you're shooting, not just fire in the middle of nowhere. But why I mentioned like the ADR of the lines, because she could have, obviously they're nails, so they could have reshot this movie and put like screws in. She could have said like, get screwed. Like the way they're all set up perfect. Or even the water one we'll get to next is like one of.
Now you're screwed.
Now you're screwed. But the way it's like he's looking at the dead guy that he just saw the killer knife 20 times, and then nowhere he's like, huh? And then she shoves a dead body's heavy, and she shoves it through and just puts his head through the nail. Oh, I loved it.
Well, doesn't she see the friend first? Or no?
Yeah, he talks to her for a second. That's why I thought he should have survived, because he was like bleeding out of his mouth.
Well, I was thinking like this whole time, like, why is she not turning him to his side? He's choking on his own blood. Like, so I mean, like, literally, like, he's laying on his back and you see blood and he's choking. Turn him over. That might have saved him.
Or she whispered in his ear, "I never liked you." Third wheel, you were the worst third wheel.
Well, does she cover his mouth at one point when he was making noise, or no?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, because then that's when the guy started coming down, because she heard him walking around and peeping through, because he did the same peep. He looked through, and then when they cut the camera back, there was no one there. So it's almost like somehow she moved Tanner at the same time, because he wasn't in the shot.
So what do you do in that spot? So you have your friend here you find out that is alive because he's moving his eyes. He's choking on his blood, making noise, but you cover his mouth so he chokes even more. Like, so like is that what you do? Like, because he's making like, it just, like, that's crazy.
You got to do what you can to survive. It'd been great if he was like semi still alive, that he was able to speak, because then that would have been like kind of like a callback to earlier when she was sort of covering for him so he could break into the room and try to save Caleb. But no, he was just like,
yeah. Okay.
But his head hanging from the ceiling was so great, because the actor who did it was like, it looked so good. It really looked like his head was good, stuck into a nail.
But what stinks is, though, the brother never found out that his brother died. Like, it was just like, it would have been cool if his brother found him. Like, and now, like, like, it was just like the rest of like the kills are just like one after another without the other ones. No, like, it would have been like, I think his brother should have found them, saw him, and now realized that, she's still around, and like, we got to keep looking. And the big brother, he's not even walking around with a gun. He's got a knife on him.
A little knife.
Like,
well, he's like a little knife. He's the businessman. Yeah, that's all he is. He's not anything else.
That's why she could have ran, because even though she saw him, he wasn't carrying a gun, and she had a head start. Like, she was so much further than him.
And like, it was so cool, that scene in the marsh.
Oh,
but I didn't think she went in there. I thought it was so silly. I know we saw her run towards it, but when he was in the water and he pulled out the pocket knife and started stabbing, I'm like, what's he doing? I thought she was just going to come behind him and waste him. Not
that's what I thought.
Emerge from the water.
But again, another throwback, because I was in the beginning of the movie. Didn't the boyfriend say, "Why don't you go for a swim?" or something like that? He mentioned something like that. Yeah. So again, they did another throwback, like the with the nails.
Oh, they were going to swim in that water.
I know.
I know. They were talking about the pool.
There wasn't a pool there, was there?
No. But that makes sense. They literally saying.
Yeah, they passed. They just passed that. Was that a swamp? Like, I don't know what that was, or was that the pool? but yeah, I mean, and would you walk in there? I mean, so okay, so the brother thinks that she's in the water. So why wouldn't you just stand outside the water and just wait for her to come up to breathe?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why do you gotta go in there and poke? First of all, you don't know if an alligator or anything's in there. Like, so you're gonna walk in there and poke around as if she's holding her breath, staying underwater. Like you could wait around.
But after a while, I said, "There's no way she's in the water." But in fact, she was in the water.
Okay.
And you get like, dude.
Okay.
So
okay.
Great.
The water was up to his ankles. Like it wasn't that deep. So how is she in the water? Like how is she underwater that deep?
She was in
it
a
really
deep
wasn't.
Spot. He was on like a little reef, a little sandbar in the lagoon,
Okay.
and she was in a hole.
Okay.
But the way the gun came out, I'm like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like it looked awesome.
See, well, she should have been breathing through like a little bamboo. Yeah.
Like a little straw she had from like McDonald's.
That would have been like a Rambo move.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
But it was great. It was so cool. Like again, going into this movie, I really forgot about the original. So in this, I didn't remember like if it was like a horror or a thriller. And you had some really cool elements. And it's great when I talked to her and she said she wanted to be like a badass action to do a movie like Angelina Jolie because they don't make those revenge type of movies. And man, she proved like this is the tape. Like if she goes to somebody and says, "Hey, I want to do these type of movies," because that is like badass. If you threw in the one-liners, she is doing like those 80s women action movies, or Sandra Curry, the slice and dice in the 70s with the one-liners, and it would be great.
Well, not even that. Like she played the role very serious, right? I mean, like, so her screams, her fear, like I think she did a great job. And I really think that she could have been in more movies, bigger movies, as the lead, because I really do think she did a good job. And I don't think you could have put anyone else in there really that would have done, anything different. Like she did the best she could. And I think she did great. So
I think she nailed it.
She really. Okay.
I just nailed it. That was pretty good. That's good. So now
I think now. Okay, excuse me. I said now you're screwed first. So.
So then at this point she's so like again because of her dad's background, hunting with her dad. She does, but she doesn't do like the double. I guess she sort of does, right? Because she runs with the wet feet. The trail like stops and goes to the right, and she like hops into the trailer, and the killer doesn't think to go into the trailer. But then we get what I wasn't expecting, like kind of like a nice little one-on-one. Like there was a nice little back and forth, which is really cool. I'm sure it was cool for her, but just cool to see in a movie like this.
Well, okay, so she goes in the trailer. Why are they traveling with, what is it, a can of gasoline?
I didn't know if that was. I wrote it down. I didn't know if it was like stain is flammable, and like paint thinner sometimes comes in small cans. But I have no idea why that was that easy to open because she should have had to use a screwdriver.
It was a homemade, like it was like, all right, we have some extra gasoline. Let's pour it in this container and like travel in the back of like that has tons. Yeah, I mean that made no sense. Why they? And again, it wasn't a lot in there. I mean, so like, what are you really saving? Like, what do you need? Like. That was a little weird, but yeah, this little one-on-one, and it was interesting. It was the
burn was the like obviously it's not the final shot of the movie, but I would say the final shot of that night scene was so great because she's walking to the left, and it was perfectly filmed because you had the stunt person that was covered in doing the burn walking off into the distance, and then you see him in the distance still while she's walking off to the road. And it was like just a really cool shot of her just like walking off while this guy's just
she's walking off in the sunset.
You'd hope dying. Yeah.
But I thought it'd be a little bit more than, because I mean they had the little battle inside the which was a small space, and they were like, and then I didn't think that was gonna be it with him. I thought like they would have battled a little bit more.
But it would have been good for a nice little like she goes inside, he goes off into the distance,
a little chase.
No, she's getting ready to call, and then we see his like wet. He jumped into the lagoon, and because the guy obviously is a superhuman, like because he was able to survive that. But then we just cut to that fades out. If it's bright, she's walking, she's hitchhiking, and she gets picked up. And dude, the scene of go.
Okay. First of all, I mean, like, do you like you're in the middle of nowhere? It's hard to pick up a hitchhiker. Like she looks like she could have just killed somebody, which she pretty much did. She killed a few people. Like you're gonna pick her up. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
you gotta believe it. Or some guy like, hey, she's pretty good looking.
Yeah, but would you pick like you're driving in the middle of nowhere? You see her.
I never pick a hitchhiker.
No, I mean, and again, even though she looks disheveled and she looks like she might have been through something, you don't know if she's the one that which we'll get to right now, which is ridiculous. I don't know if you just pick up a random in the middle of nowhere. I don't think you do.
Yeah, me and my buddies picked up a hitchhiker one time because he got us beer. It was the most bizarre story. He said, hey, we saw him at a rest stop in New Jersey after we got kicked off of camping.
Why were you hanging out at a rest stop?
Because we got kicked out of camping on 4th of July at Kittatinny Point. We were firing guns, BB guns, my dad's BB gun, and shooting out fireworks. And the park ranger showed up, guns blazing. So they were really kind. They were like, hey guys, just get out of here. We'll give you an open container. So we go to this thing. We're like, man, it's $2 beer. And this guy overheard us. At the time, he seemed so old, but he was probably only like 30 because we were only like 18. He goes, hey man, I'm camping with my buddies. They were dicks. Let's go steal all their beer. So then we went, and me and this guy I never knew basically robbed these people of all their alcohol.
So you trust him that those were actually his friends? I mean,
when I got back, all my buddies go, dude, we thought we were going to never see you again. And I mean, first of all, let me go.
And the fact that they're probably not even, he probably didn't even know them. He's robbing like strangers.
Yeah.
You're
like, don't worry, they're sleeping, but let's not be loud. I was like, all right, cool. And I had like a bag and I was like throwing beers.
What if he went there and killed one of them and you're standing right next to him? Like,
and then somebody's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna get contacted for like a murder podcast and be like, do you know that guy? He was the beer bandit. The beer bandit killer. He was bringing some dumb 17, 18-year-old to grab the beers to get their DNA all of a scene, and then he commits the murder.
Oh
but no, so no, I would never pick up a hitchhiker because of that moment, I've always thought of like, hey, I could be like one of these movies.
Oh. Well, were you at True Green? Again, we're off topic, but when someone from one of our customers called, I don't know if you were there. And so like we called him and he's like, I need a ride to DMV and I'll pay someone $500. Right. So Mike Forsythe, you've heard of him.
I remember Mike Forsythe. Yeah.
Okay. So he's on the phone and he goes, I'm not doing it. I go, give me the phone. So I took the phone and the guy gave me his address. I forget where he lived. It was in Jersey, obviously. And so I go to his house. I picked him up. I mean, he was like an overweight older guy, and he was like, wobbling over in his house. I mean, just from the street, the inside looked like disheveled. But I drove him to DMV. He got whatever he did. He gave me $500 cash.
What was he not know what a taxi is?
You know what? This is before Uber, but the point is,
but that's crazy. It's not like you were working in like Bumble,
I know. And it was a nice, I think it might've been like Westwood or something like that. Like it was a nice area, but
wow.
The point is though, like when I go back to the office and I showed him the money that I did it, they're like, well, you could have been killed. I go, I had enough time seeing him from the door to like my car and the way he was moving. I was pretty sure that even if he tried something, I was going to be able to handle myself. Like if it was like a young big guy or a creepy guy like creepy Dennis Franz, I'm pulling away.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So what you guys learn from these two stories? Don't pick up hitchhikers. And maybe in some cases, like one might offer you $500, but you never know. You might never get that money.
Yeah, you might. Correct.
But in this one, the guy picks up Agnes. They go to the cops, and then these cops. You have one cop that's I guess like the sheriff. He is kind of sane in a way because he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Everything's clean. We see remnant. There must have been blood, right? And
I said that. I go, how is there no blood? And first of all, what's the time range between them picking up Agnes, going to the cops, the next morning? Okay, yeah. So you're telling me this guy who's got
Who was on
90% of his
fire.
body,
Yeah.
90% of his body burnt off.
Yeah.
No pain or anything. He's able to go back, vacuum, clean up, and make the beds and scrub the floor so there's no blood, and get rid of all the cameras. Knows exactly where all the cameras are, and then leave in a matter of a couple hours after his whole body's burnt to crisp.
It makes zero sense. Unless he's on fire and he goes, you know what I really have to do? As soon as I get this fire off of me, I make sure I get rid of the bodies underneath. So he's moving the bodies underneath. He's cleaning the blood from everywhere. It just, I don't know.
First of all, my guess is they don't have enough. They don't have the proper chemicals to clean the blood at that place.
I'm sure they have no cleaning supplies.
And no. And even if they did, he wouldn't even know where to go. He wouldn't even know where they are. Like, I burn my finger on a candle. My finger throbs for a week. Like this guy's whole body looks like a burnt marshmallow. And he's like, okay, again, what? This is like, we're talking about midnight, like at least midnight.
Oh, not even
right now.
No,
not
it
even.
seemed like it was the middle of the night that
right. Okay. Middle of the night. So let's say 3:00 in the morning. She gets picked up. They drove her right to the police station. The police went right over there. So you're talking about he had maybe 5 hours to do all that.
Yeah.
If that.
It's insane.
Okay.
And then there was nothing that the cops were like, it's like, there was things that were broken. There was broken chairs, gunshots through different things. You're telling me he patched all the walls that there's nothing for them to notice? Oh, and the brothers that I'm sure they know are just vanished?
And her friends are missing?
Yeah.
Like, are the friends like, so what did they think that why would they think that she's making this up? What would she gain out of making up this entire story?
Nothing.
Because looking at the motel from the outside, there's no way there would be creepers there. I mean, they just by looking at a motel, you could say, you know what? I mean, I don't know if she's telling the truth or not, but I could see them putting cameras in there. I mean, so yeah.
Or the guy was smart enough. The guy that was only part of this operation for a day, he knows where every single camera is in the whole place. He grabbed every wire.
That's what I said. So, or maybe they're one of the high-paying customers.
Yeah.
I mean,
I heard they're getting into smut films.
You know what? I mean, we talk about how, these people always look the same in all these movies down south. The cops are always corrupt and involved in the business down south also. So maybe they were the customers.
It's like, it would be great if the brothers, like, obviously they had to die for Agnes to get away. It would be great if they didn't and they survived and they were the 3 cops that were on the scene. The burn guy's face. Yeah. The people just in cop uniforms they got from Party City. But no, it was just so silly. And then the last scene, obviously, because this sets up the original movie, is you get the killer, which they name him the killer in this one. He is all burned and he's making a deal with the trucker that we saw in the beginning of the movie to keep doing these murders and sell the tapes. My question is, how the hell did he get this hotel?
Okay. Not only how did he get he could have killed the people. I mean,
and just take it over. I was thinking loans or something.
But why is he still trying to do this business? Because it worked so well for him the first time. So he's still trying to get this business off the ground. Like at this point, you basically a bunch of people died for no reason because you didn't gain anything from that. Your entire body looks like a shriveled, like I said, shriveled marshmallow, or whatever. And you're still trying to do this business. It didn't work the first time around. Why are you still go back to your old business and just start killing people, by itself?
Yeah. Or it seemed like he was a businessman type that did the murders and had a normal life. Like he lived a double life. So the only reason he was roped into this stupid smut, film business was because the other guys had blackmail of him of the tape of the prostitute.
Right.
So you're right. He could have had his out. He could have went back to his normal life and be like, honey, you would not believe what happened to me. Because I don't know if he's married, but he could be living that double life. And, I got this burn. Oh, I'm glad you're fine.
Or just go back to killing the way he was he's obviously wasn't caught all this time until these bumbling idiots caught him. So it wasn't like the cops caught him. So go back to what he's good at. No, go back to what basically destroyed your entire life and everything else. I think starting a murder
is the choice that leads you down the path of ruining your entire life.
That
It's not like,
true.
hey, why are you in prison right now? I met these two bumbling idiots. No.
Yeah, but you know
You're
what
a
though?
murderer.
He walked around like he was, high in life. Listen, he was happy what he was doing.
He was proud. He was proud of his work,
He was proud of his work.
Oh man, so that was Vacancy 2, the first cut. That movie was a lot of fun. I think, from our beginnings and the way we just talked about it for the last 90 minutes, how much it kind of like, usually when we go to these movies, we never know what to expect unless we've seen it before. But this one, for Jamie, would you recommend somebody to check this one out?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's worth watching. It's not a bad movie. It's got some, like I said. I mean, I think there's 2 or 3 scenes where I had to like squint my eyes because I was afraid of what was going to happen. So it's definitely worth watching if you're looking for something on TV and you want some kind of thriller. Because I would say this is almost more of a thriller than a horror movie.
Yeah.
And there's definitely thrills. And you know what? I think the actors do a great job. I think it's definitely worth watching. It's, again, I'm surprised because when I saw the trailer and when I saw it, I was like, oh, here we go, another one. But no, I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't that bad.
No, I agree. And for usually movies that don't have a cast of people that really well, and it's not that many people, it's really hard because if one person lacks, it throws off anything because you're just focused on that one person that's not good. But everybody was great. Well cast.
Yeah, they meshed well together. Yeah, I agree.
And the only guy that wasn't the best, which I'm not saying there was any, because he didn't get a chance to maybe like round his character out because he died so quick, was Caleb. Because he was this weird situation of I love this girl and I'm giving up my life in Chicago to move to the small town to work at a hardware store. And then, hey, I'm an actor real tough. And then he died really quick.
But you know what though? And again, in his defense, I think he did well for what he had because he didn't play the typical jerk kind of guy in these movies. Like he literally I think he did a good job as like the worried boyfriend. Also, what's going on? Like, I think they all did a good job. Like, they didn't try to play the cliche characters that are in like these type of movies. Mm-hmm. They played them more realistic of how you really would react in a situation like this. And I think that's why it was better than I expected. Because again, in these kind of movies that might not be as known, you're going to get like the silly acting. You're going to get the cliche personalities, and I feel like the acting was how anyone else would act.
I agree. I always say, like, whenever I love watching thrillers. In this one, obviously it's a thriller, but you don't. I don't know what the difference between suspense and thriller is. I don't know if it's like thriller, you don't know who the killer is, and suspense, you know who it is. But that'd be nice to. I should Google that, but. Leave that on the back burner. It's like these are the type of movies I love to watch, and it's great that we had the opportunity to come across this because I probably would never have seen it because this should be on those lists of those type of movies because it's really good. It's quick, it moves, even though it has like a short runtime. It's like with taking out like the credits, it's like an hour 20, but it's really. I'm gonna tell you, it's like 2 acts. It's the beginning part where we see that couple, the newlyweds, and then once we meet Agnes and her boyfriend and Tanner, that's the rest of the movie. Like, it's pretty quick.
The movie does move, and you know what? I don't even think there's beginning credits. Like, I think the movie just jumps into the newlyweds.
Title card.
So
boom.
Which you don't see too often in movies as well. That I mean, it literally just takes off right from the beginning. So it's definitely and I don't remember the first movie, but I would put it up there with that movie. I mean, the first one doesn't stand. I mean, I know it had, I think, Kate Beckinsale and maybe what's his name,
and Luke Wilson.
But I think this was definitely a pleasant surprise, and I think people would enjoy it.
Yeah, so that was good that was episode 299. Next up, obviously it's the holidays. It's that time of year that people are a little bit nicer. They'll maybe like take your cart back to the store for you or something. At Aldi's, they don't take the quarter when you give them the quarter. But no, it's like that time of year. And we were like, man, what would be the perfect movie? I was joking with Jamie like a few weeks back, like, man, is there any bowling sequels for 300? No bowling sequels out there. They were like, hey, maybe we should do a holiday movie. And then Jamie had the greatest idea for the 300th episode, why not do the sequel to 300, 300 Rise of an Empire? This movie has a good cast. I've never seen this one. This was like probably the first Eva Green movie before she started getting big. Maybe not. I feel like she was already in Sin City by this point. This is 2014. This movie came out. So this will be a lot of fun to watch. I'm pretty excited. So for 300, we're going to cover 300 Rise of the Empire.
Awesome. I can't wait. Because like I said, I haven't seen it. Love the first one. So.
Yeah, this will be cool. And then after that, we'll do, because it'll be the end of the year, which is crazy how this year flew by. Man, so many crazy things in 2023, but we had a lot of fun. So then we'll do a little look back at 2023 and then look forward to 2024, because we already have so many epic interviews lined up. Some sequels that we've been, from the beginning, they've been on our list that we wanted to do. One from the Scream franchise, a Critters, so much more. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.